Today I want to do a couple of different things. I want to do a simple magic circle, which is how you start any crochet project. And then I want to show you how I get started as it relates to a chain and just single crochet. So we're just gonna start there with the magic circle, and we're gonna do a chain, and I'm just gonna do a sample, and then we're also going to do maybe a couple of rows of single crochet, and then I want to show you some things that I'm working on, and then I'll come back and from time to time, and I'll have little things in between. But I'm going to start a project, and we're going to work that project all the way through. And I'm going to show you one of the projects that I've already started, and what it's looking like and how it's shaping up. And then you can go through the process with me as we work it through and finish it. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to adjust my camera here, and I'm going to start with the magic circle and the chain. And so I want to ensure that you can see, make sure my surface is good. And what we're going to do is, so different people do it different ways. Some people do it with, you can do it with the needle, the hook. You can do it with the hook. So you can do it with the hook and pull up a loop this way. And let me just, I'm going to do the magic circle first. And so I'm going to do it, the first way I'm going to do it is with my four fingers. So with my thumb and my forefinger, I'm going to hold the yarn in between, and then I'm going to wrap that around my three fingers, right? And then I can take my hook, and I can pull the yarn through, and then that gives us a loop to start with. Now, this, you can draw this tight and you can start working, okay? Or you can leave it loose, and this can be the ring for how you start, for instance, like a hat. So let's say we were going to start a hat. I would leave this loose. So this would be your magic ring, so to speak. So I would leave this loose, but then I would start crocheting. And here again, everybody does theirs differently. But I would start crocheting, making sure that I hold that tail. And so I would start with 3 chains. Okay. And then holding your yarn, it's a little bit of an art, and when you're working with both hands, sometimes it can be a little challenging to get that flow down. But once you get it, it will it'll be comfortable, and it'll be really, really easy to do. So if so for instance, when I start my hats, I start with 12 double crochet. This is just one way to start it. And I think I may have crossed over I think I did. Let me redo that really quick, because I don't want there to be, I want this to be smooth. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm doing is making sure that my knot is smooth. So you can see that I have an open circle here, and then I just pull the loop through, and this gives me the ability to adjust it, okay, as I go. So I like to keep that loose, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do once I finish. So what I like to do is just kind of turn this over so that I can start working my double crochets into the loop. So I like to catch my yarn and just do a single crochet, and then I'm going to stack them on top of each other just to secure my double crochet as I'm going around the circle. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now I want to yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 on the hook, and pull through the other 2 loops on the hook. So that's a double crochet. Yarn over, place my hook in the circle, yarn over, pull my hook through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull my hook through the next 2 loops. Now I hadn't planned on doing double crochet, but since I'm showing you the circle and how it can be utilized, I thought this may be beneficial to go ahead and show you. So this is a double crochet, so I'm yarning over, placing my hook inside the circle, I'm yarning over the yarn, I'm pulling that back through the loop, then I yarn over so that I can pull through the first 2 loops, and then I yarn over and I pull through the second 2 loops, and that gives me double crochet. So far I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. So now I'm going to complete my double crochets so that I can show you how this circle works. And you see how it expands as much as you want it to. So however many you wanted to crochet in here, depending on what you were, crocheting. It may be a hat, it may be a dolly, it could be anything. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to do 12. It's 9. Yarn over, hook through the circle, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, hook through the circle, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and I believe I have one more. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now I have 12 double crochets. So this is my magic circle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this closed. And I hope I didn't knot it. That's what I was trying not to do in my crossing over. Okay. Well, I think I did inadvertently knot it. And that's what I didn't want to do. But hey, these are some of the things that can happen. And so I'm going to leave this in because what we want to not do is, so yeah, so I knotted it. So this is what happens when it's not knotted. And so what you do is you pull your circle closed. So this is my, okay. So you just pull it closed, and that's why it's called the magic circle, because you can do whatever you want inside of that circle, and then once you're done, you can close it up. So if I was going to start to close this up and do, I could add more double crochets into this center, or I can close it and I can start the next round, because this would conclude my first round. So I want to keep that tail right there, leave that, and then I want to go into the top chain of that first crochet, and I want to slip stitch. And so a slip stitch is where you don't yarn over, you just pull the yarn through and you bring it through the loop, and that closes it. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now I am going to start again, and this time what I want to do is, let's get this little knot off here, and then I'm going to make my circle here again. You can do 2 fingers, 3 fingers, but simply put the yarn in between those 2 fingers and bring up a loop, and that gets you started. Place your hook through that loop, and then that gets you started. So this is how I think this is the simplest way to start for doing a chain. And so when we're doing a chain, we're simply going to be yarning over and pulling it through the loop. Okay? Yarning over, pulling it through the loop. Yarn over, pull through the loop. Now there are different ways that you can hold your hook. So sometimes I hold my hook like this, as if I was writing with a pencil, and then sometimes it's like if I was using a fork. Okay, but all you're doing to do a chain is to yarn over, and you see how the hook, when you put the hook under the yarn, you turn it so that the yarn gets into the groove of the hook, and it controls the yarn and brings it through the loop. So you really have to be careful when you're working with delicate yarn. And so as you can see, what happens is, as we make these chains, we see these little V's. You see these little V's? Yeah, those little V's. So those are the stitches. And so this is how we create our chain. And so I'm going to continue. Let's see, we get us 10 or 15 or so chains. And then I'll show you how we do a single crochet and the options we have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, I have 15 chains, but now I'm not necessarily going to have 15 stitches. And I'm going to show you why, because we have a turning chain. So projects have, and patterns have different sequences. It's all about, it's a numbers game. And so really understanding how to, and for me, a lot of times I don't necessarily use a pattern. I'll use a sequence of stitches based on the type of stitch I'm going to do and what that stitch requires. But in this case, it's going to be a single crochet. And so I'm going to start crocheting in the second hook or the second chain from the hook. So this is the hook. And then I'm going to start crocheting in this one, but not this first one. Now, I can do several different things, okay? Let me get this out of the way so that you can see. So I can go into, I don't like mine to be, I like it a little tight so that I can control. So I can either go in the top part of this stitch, and I can start a single crochet there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull up a loop, then I have 2 loops on my hook, right? I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through both loops. That's a single crochet. Okay, you see that? Single crochet. Now, I can also, and this is my preferred method because it gives a smoother edge to your projects. Same thing. If I turn over my chain, I have these little bumps. You can see it's the back side of the chain. So I did 15 stitches. I have 15 bumps. So what I like to do is I like to go into underneath the back side and go underneath that little bump right there, right? Do the same thing. I have I have the hook up under that bump. I'm going to yarn over, pull through that bump, yarn over again. This is a single crochet and pull through 2. And you see what happens? So I got this edge over here and then I got my single crochet on top. I'm going to do it again slow and then I'll finish the row. Go into that back hump, yarn over, pull through that hump, yarn over again, pull through both loops on my hook. That's 2 single crochets. You see that? And you can see that you have a V in the front and then you have a V on top, right? There are 2 V's here. And so when we come back, I'm going to do a row and I'm going to show you how we're going to create our stitches. So I'm going to do one more slowly and then I'll finish the row. We're going under this hump, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and we're going to pull through 2. And you'll see how that's forming. And, starting any project, I tell anybody, starting any project, the foundation that's the most tedious part. Once you get the foundation started and you establish what your pattern's going to be or whatever you're working on, whatever stitches you're working on, it's smooth sailing from there. It's just like, anything else. It's like in business. I tell people all the time, structure, strategies, and systems are important. And so once you have your structure laid out, you can start to work on your strategies and establish a system by how you're going to work. And so this is what helps us to lay a foundation for the project. Okay. So we have our last stitch right here. And then this is what it looks like. You have your stitches on top. You see the V's. You have your stitches on the bottom. You see the V's. And then you have your 1 row of single crochets. So, whatever, if this was a sweater or a blanket or whatever the case may be, you already have your smooth edge if you didn't want to put an edging on the back. Now, I'm going to do row 2. I'm going to do row 2 of the single crochet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. And so I always like to turn my work to the left and just flip it, okay? And so turning your work is important, especially with blankets. Most projects will require that you turn the work because it creates a pattern and a flow, okay? So now that we have our first row of single crochets, let's notice what happens. And these are things you want to pay attention to, right? So you can see here, each of these have produced a stitch. So we have spaces here, right? We have a space here, right? So that's a space we could go into. And these are posts. So these are single crochet. So this becomes a post. So you have spaces here that you can go into and crochet, right? You also have within these spaces, at the top of these spaces is the V. So that's the top of the stitch, right? You also have within this V, you have this V. So this is the front of the stitch. This is the back of the stitch. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things you can do, right? So if you were to, say for instance, we were doing, just say it was a dishcloth or something like that. We're going to go under, those two, that V. We're going to go under the V, and it's in the space in between the stitches. And then we're going to yarn over. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through both, right? So that's a single crochet. That's row 2. We're going to do it again. We'll go into that space underneath both of those, underneath that V, yarn over, pull through 2. So here again, you're just repeating that all the way down, okay? All the way down. So since I've started, I'm just going to finish this all the way down. And then I'm going to show you another way that you can do your single crochet, and we'll see what it yields as it relates to the finished look of it. So I'm just going to complete this row all the way down. I'm going underneath the V. It's a nice smooth finish. I yarn over, pull up a loop, and I bring that through both loops. Okay, so I don't yarn over before. I just go straight underneath that V, pull that loop up, then I yarn over and I pull my loop through both, pull the yarn through both loops on my hook. Go underneath that V, right? Yarn over, pull my yarn through both loops on the hook. And we're just about done. I'm doing that all the way down. Okay. And now we're to the last one. Same thing. Okay. And as before, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. Now, this time I'm going to do single crochet, same thing, but I am going to turn this up so that I can show you the V stitches, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. And so now what I want to do is I have a front part of the stitch and I have a back part of the stitch. I want to go into the back of the stitch only. So I'm just going into that back loop, pulling up my yarn, yarning over, doing the same thing, and pulling through 2. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go in the back loop, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through both loops on the hook. See, I'm just going into the back of that stitch only, not both, just the back. So you'll notice I'm not going inside in between that space I showed you before. I'm just going simply in the back side of the stitch. And so we're going to do that all the way down. Back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is all, after we do the foundation row, this is all single crochet. Okay? All single crochet. We're just about done, and you're gonna see that it creates, and this I love for beanie hats and things of that nature. This is our last one. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna chain one and we're gonna turn. Now, you can see already that there is a difference in the finish. So you see this little dimple in that row? That's because we didn't go through both of the V's. We only went through one. So it creates this little ribbing effect. So when we turn our work, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to go into the back loop. Same thing, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull it through both loops on the hook, go into the back of the V, back side of the stitch only, see, yarn over, pull through both hoops on the hook, pull it up, yarn over, pull the yarn through both loops on the hook, place it in the back stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over, and pull the yarn through both hoops on the hook. Okay, both of those loops every time. Yarn over, pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull the yarn through both loops, and you do that all the way down. And there we are, we're at the end. I'm gonna chain one and then show you what that looks like. So you see how that shapes up and it gives this ribbing effect. Same thing on the back side. You start to get this, and as you continue, it makes this ribbing pattern all the way down, and it's a really, really nice finish. Okay, so that's getting started. Single crochet, the magic circle with double crochets in the center if you were starting a hat. And so yeah, this will get you started, and you can do this. Take your time and do it over and over. And here again, you know, I could start this row if I wanted to have alternate patterns, and then just go under both loops, yarn over, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull my yarn through both loops on the hook. And just, I could decide I want to do 2 rows this way, or 3 rows, and then I want to do 4 rows where it's back, the back stitch only. I can decide however I want to do it, and then you can see that the finish is different. It's smooth on the front and it's smooth on the back when you do it under both loops, right? The complete V. But when you just do one stitch of the V, it creates this ribbing effect. Okay, all right. So listen, if you have questions or comments, leave it in the chat for me. I'm glad I kind of had that little tafu there at the beginning, so I could show you how it's easy to get a knot in your loop and then it doesn't close. So definitely make sure that you be careful, because you can easily, and I do it all the time and I have to start over, but you can easily place a knot in your magic loop and then it doesn't close once you are finished with your once you're finished with your project or your circle, I'm sorry. So I want to quickly show you some of the things that I'm working on. So this is, and then I'll be back the next time. But this is a project I am working on, and this is called, well, let me get this in the right position. This color is called Latte, and I love it. It has all of these, and let me just adjust a little bit. So it has this real deep coffee, and I'm a coffee lover, coffee drinker, but it starts, it's an ombre, and it starts with this khaki to goldish to brown rust color, and then it gets into this espresso, and then it comes back in with this brown. And so this is, as I was showing you earlier when I was doing the circle, so I started this one with half double crochets. And so you can see I started my circle, closed it up, and then I did the next round. And so until I got to the appropriate length to start the brim of this latte curly hat. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be absolutely amazing. Perfect for the fall. All of the fall colors are there. And so we are now working on the brim. So I started the first round has already been completed. As you can see, all the way around, it's been completed. And so now what I want to do is do the second round. And so the first round, in order to establish this curly pattern, there are 4 double crochets in each of the stitches around the first row. And then once I got to the second row, and we'll do one of these in totality at some point, then it's 3 double crochets, and I'll just show you one really quickly. We're yarning over, and this is the one I showed you in the magic circle at the beginning. And we go into that same stitch, and we do another double crochet. We yarn over, place our hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And so that is the pattern we're doing all the way around this second row. And so as we do the second row, it begins to curl even more, and it gives that real voluptuous volume effect, right? So that's going to be really, really nice. So I'll be able to show you that the next time when we come back and how that turned out. Okay. All right. Well, until next time, I got my hand all over the camera. But until next time, this is where we'll be, and this is what we'll be doing. And I'll be just sharing some crochet tips and things with you. And I'll be going back over, especially whenever I'm starting a project, I'll be doing the same thing as it relates to showing you that magic circle and how you can start it, or your chain, how you can start your chain and get your project going, because different yarns function different ways. Some yarns are more delicate than others, some are more sturdy than others. And so then we have different hook sizes. So today I was using this is a H, yep, I think this is a H hook. Yeah, so this is a H hook. So this is a 5mm hook. I don't know if you can see that really, really clearly. Yeah, but it's a 5mm hook. And so we have different hooks. And so the hooks are really, I like the ergonomic kind. So this has the grip on it. It helps with how I position. It keeps me from getting calluses on my fingers and my knuckles and things of that nature. And it's just easier to glide through and use with the yarn. And of course, I crochet fast, but because I've been doing it for forever. But you'll get there, right? And so, yeah, this is the crochet hook. So we'll do something else the next time. Who knows what we'll be working on. But we did starting chain, beginner crochet, creating a chain, and single crochet. So we covered 3 basic things of learning to crochet. So definitely like and subscribe, because as I am crocheting, I am sharing other information So I would definitely love for you to like and subscribe, be a part, and listen, share with somebody who's interested in learning how to crochet. All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you later.